Easy lang. Shot mo naman si alias Linda. Hinihintay na siya ni Dilima. Bad trip. Shot mo naman si alias Linda. Hinihintay na siya ni Dilima. Bad trip. Shot mo naman si alias Linda. Hinihintay na siya ni Dilima. Bad trip. Bad trip.
Level, but I'd argue that Alk is up.
Shot mo naman si alias Linda. Hinihintay na siya ni Dilima. Bad trip.
They still lost. It didn't even look close. Like, this is just, it's just not a balanced concept right now. And I'll be very, very thrilled when he is nerfed into the ground in our next patch.
Yeah, whatever that will be.
Level, but I'd argue that Alk is up.
Follow up from TNC's lashes.
We definitely start looking towards the blood. You actually do Bloodseeker with Void as well. That'd be a bit rough. But it was that combination you had of just like the toss for the rupture.
I like Lesh because TNC are comfortable playing it on effectively every role. It could be the 2, 3, 4 here, even 1.
Same with the Tiny on the other side. A little bit of flex.
It's most likely going to be the 4 position.
Five seconds.
This is the big pick for TNC. Whenever your second pick, you've got to give away a core here, right? Or you're going to take a support and reveal that Lesh and Beastmaster are cores. Critical, and this is your draft, but can't be hard countered. TNC in the past. Team fight is low, right? You might not want to press your advantage. Underlord allows you to go. Maybe there's a buyback and a fight that you would lose because Chrono's not available, but now you can just call that Uber, boom, you're out of dodge. You can reset, regroup, and then fight again when all your spells are back off cooldown. So it really just matches the way you want to play around a Void.
And they're definitely going to need to play around that very well because TNC's got a very high tempo style lineup. Like, we talked like Cole like briefly, like he's able to increase the speed of things, but Latrak, you just take one kill and you can already start pressuring a tower. Nightstalker can just be this frontline aggressor, and it doesn't take long for these heroes to come online. And then we still don't know who TNC's final hero is going to be, if this is a high tempo mid that gets picked up.
Invoker Man.
Could be
like the TAs that we've seen so much as well, but I don't know if it's not as great against the Tiny.
I think I'd rather just see a mid Lesh if your matchup's fine. A Razor could be a possibility. I actually don't mind a hero like Bristleback. I think if you look at Gambit's issues right now, it's mostly sustained damage output and in the mid game, right? If you hit a timing as TNC where you've got Lesh Beastmaster plus something beefy, well, how does Gambit actually kill your draft? You have Coddle as well to drop the Ignis Fatus, boom, counter-initiate, deals with the Chrono very effectively. I'm concerned for Gambit if TNC look to turn up the gas with their 22 pick. Need something here that has more of like a low cost, low cooldown ability that provide high damage. Something like Lina could work, but it's just, I want something a bit more durable.
A lot of discussion over this final ban. A lot of time being used by Gambit actually in the reserve.
I can see SF as a possibility, some more stacking damage resistance. You really want a BKB hero against Coddle and Lesh as well. GPK is more of the flashy superstar style of mid, so OD is also a possibility. But again, just I'm concerned about a hero that relies on auto attacks for damage output. I'd much rather a mixed damage core that buys BKB.
You don't want something that just dumps stuff in the chrono?
Well, you can do that too. It's like you need something that does like checks a lot of boxes right now and also is somewhat matchup independent. It's very difficult to ever outlane a Shadow Fiend. Toby, what do you think?
I'm thinking I want to go over there and ask Blitz.
Just 10 seconds of reserve time remaining here for Gambit. They do have the pick straight after, so not a big deal, I guess. They ban the OD and they pick the quad.
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't have a disable, but it's low cooldown, high mobility. You can play around with your supports easily, and the CM aura helps you farm a lot. You don't need to buy a mana regen item. You can just play Dota 2. But here's where TNC, I think it's a dream DK pick.
Oh yeah.
And all of us, you just can walk down lanes, right? Because Gambit's damage output is, again, very limited until they have a lot of items online.
Do you still feel like that's going to be enough, though, with like TNC's timing? As I know, like everyone else is able to walk down lanes and then just make it like that front liner, but then you're running into the Underlord, you're running into the Chronosphere. And you have to start playing around like Dragon Form.
What, if you have a BKB DK, how do you do anything? Plus, Quap kind of needs to snowball to be effective in this kind of game. It's really difficult because you need a BKB. You prefer a 4-staff hero against Night Stalker, but Quap doesn't really like to buy that item. Yules isn't exactly effective. You could just be stunned as you come down. Night Stalker still has a silence floating around on top of you. It's a relatively difficult game, especially if TNC last pick another stun.
The only concern I have out of that is you don't have that way to get like an instant kill. I was seeing these TAs with the big hits. Like, I don't know if you get like a Necro who's then able to like drop the Reaper's Sight. Like, it's something along these lines where TNC has kill potential coming from their mid, because that's what Gambit's going to want to run with too. Queen of Pain rotates, it ends up with a kill, and we end up getting Dusa instead. So, very survivable.
It's really good against the Quap. You just spam Snake on her in the laning phase, drains the mana more than harass, and you don't get harassed, then outlast it, and eventually start rotating to start doing stacks. It's a different style from TNC.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a very different style. What's on the other side that can threaten that Medusa pick?
They don't really they had damage issues, right? That's what I said. And now you pick an incredibly tanky hero with a Coddle behind him.
Yep.
So you're going to give Chakra, that lowers the cooldown on Snake and applies, it's plus 300 mana. That's literally just raw HP for Dusa. You have a Beastmaster as well. Tons of map control. It's a
great last pick, isn't it?
It is. I think Gambit need to play better for longer to win this game. One mistake and TNC can just kind of cruise.
Toby?
Yeah, I'm with Kyle on that one. Like, the Dusa feels very unanswered. At the same time, though, like, it feels like Gambit can play that slower kind of pace. Maybe they can weather the storm and the Underlord. What was the phrase that Cap was using? Infinite scaling. Just let them keep building up, and then there'll be one big fight it'll all come down to. So it's that game you don't want to predict the winner of.
All right, good stuff. Time to get into game number 1 then, ladies and gentlemen. Holding to see this one could be bumpy for everyone.
One small Gambit will be on the brink. That's what Kyle is saying from this draft. This last pick, Medusa, seems to be exactly what TNC is going to abuse Gambit's lineup with. Kyle said there was a lack of damage. Do you agree, Blitz?
Kind of. Like, I can sort of see what he means in that, no, actually, I feel like they have a lot of damage.
They've got Quap behind a Faceless Void.
Yeah, they have CM, who's like one of the best like DPS 5s. You have Tiny, who has one of the highest burst damage potentials. You've got Firestorm that you can throw into the Chronosphere.
It is still going to be hard to be able to burst down that Medusa, right? I mean,
I think you just have to change your item build.
Yeah.
Like, Void would have to go Diffusal this game.
Diffusal Manta build?
Yeah.
That's the play for this game.
Like, Maelstrom is so value on the hero, but I think that this game, Diffusal is just so good. It's good against pretty much all the heroes on the side of TNC this game.
We are going to have a couple of somewhat unique heroes. I'm not sure if we've seen Shachlo play the Underlord just yet in this tournament, but we are going to. Definitely the swerve was from TNC. Once again, doing the safe lane Night Stalker that we've seen from them many times, but this last pick, Medusa, comboed up with a Keeper of the Light. I mean, that's a really powerful duo by itself. God forbid that that March gets up to level 20 and he gets the plus 300 Chakra Magic mana, plus the Mystic Snake. Being able to cast that twice.
We could give him 30 days. And
Yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy.
That's so much value, which is why I think the Diffusal is very value for them.
Yeah.
And I think their laning phase has to go pretty well. Like, I could see a world in which Gambit just gets run over, which is what we saw when Alliance and, in fact, Gambit, when they played against TNC in the group stage, and Alliance in the playoffs. I mean, this team will outpace you real quick. And funny enough, KP not going for the boars. Oftentimes we see that. In fact, decided to go for the axes, and I think he's just going to try to trade up with Dream. I think this is a pretty good idea. You're going to force him all the way back and around by chasing him like this. He doesn't have time walk up in time, so he's going to come back all the way around, already a decent start for TNC.
It was definitely a 1-for-1 trade-off. He leveled axes, then Dream leveled the time walk in response. It definitely seems like Tims and KP want to get full-on aggro against Dream. Our mid matchup, the Medusa of Armel versus GBK's Queen of Pain. How's that supposed to go?
I mean, I think the lane is fine for both sides.
Yeah.
But I think Dusa against all in-cores feels really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of their mana. It's hard for you to ever deny the range creep.
Yeah. So Armel might have the slight advantage here, and that is pretty dangerous because Armel has been a monster in the mid lane.
Yeah. He has won so many lanes that I feel like he shouldn't. I mean, so is GPK. Like, GPK this is probably one of the more anticipated matchups in the playoffs for me, just because I feel like GPK has been an absolute beast. Like, he's gone on a tear.
Yeah, I feel like we had this description for when we watched Alliance matchup against TNC, and Armel did end up beating out Limp in at least one of the matchups. I remember the Gyro versus Ember Spirit. He bodied Limp pretty hard on that one. We'll see whether or not he's going to be able to do the same against GPK. Meanwhile, our bottom lane, an Underlord and a support Tiny. Not your classic duo, but it's not a classic safe lane either. The Keeper of the Light and Night Stalker lane. Another hero that can definitely abuse both the extra mana given by Chakra Magic as well as the cooldown reduction. Because Void, when you max it out, goes to a cooldown of 8, and Chakra Magic reduces it by 7. So he's just going to be able to double Void a lot of these times for a hefty amount of burst damage.
Yeah, you used to hate that combo just because you would rush Cuddle Ags every time, and then you would sort of screw yourself over.
Yeah,
but nowadays it doesn't really matter because nobody goes the Ags.
That's true. There's so many items that are worth picking up on Keeper of the Light because of his 350 cast range talent. Any sort of Glimmer Caves, Force Staffs, and the usual, but even late game Scythe of Ice can be deadly. That kind of range of initiation, KP trying to get his range creep secured, and he does so with the axes. FNG, nice dodge. FNG packing a lot of mangoes in this lane because he knows he's going to be spamming out Crystal Nova quite a bit.
KP being against this lane also didn't end up getting the boar early. Thought that the axes might be a little bit more value against the CM. Once you get the double boar, though, it makes it really hard for her. Plus, her mana situation isn't great to begin with, so it's not like you get to trade out very easily.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this maybe should be a trend moving forward, because level 1 boar is just not very good. Most of the time, you just feed it away. It's only when you get level 2, it becomes a lot stronger. An extra 150 health, as well as doubling the damage that it provides.
March gonna get run into by Vampire. Doesn't care too much. Is gonna get tossed into the neutrals. Cute little move by him. And if he does a good job body blocking, and he allows the creeps to get him a little bit lower, but Blinding Light is gonna reset.
That'll just mean won't be able to use Blinding Light for a little bit longer. No more regen left for him.
Yeah, and this lane is going to be fine, I feel, for the Underlord. This is twice now where I feel like I've seen a pretty good Underlord game.
They definitely need his extra teamfight presence. Gonna want to pipe this game for sure. Nice toss back there into the Firestorm at bottom lane with the Avalanche over the top of the two, and it looks like March may end up dying here with the Blinding Light, as well as the Void, buying a little bit of space and time. Vampire, he does have stick charges if you wanted to try and go for the dive here, or try and get a toss kill, but sadly, March too far away to claim that first blood. And FNG also gonna TP out at the top lane, dodging Tim's. So first blood still on the table for one of these two side lanes.
It's really hard for anybody to die right now.
Yeah.
You have a Faceless Void that can time walk out. Beastmaster naturally tanky. I don't think they have the damage to kill this Underlord. Gabby shouldn't die either. Really, it's just the supports that'll probably feed up first blood this game. Like, Dream can get harassed, but I mean, he's got time walk. It's very unlikely that he ever gets in a position where he should die. So maybe the CM or like Tim's gets caught out of position going for the bounty rune or something. Or somebody mid really messes up.
Yeah.
GPK to die in this matchup would have to get into some like really irresponsible fight.
It would have to be some sort of all-in play where he blinks onto the Medusa thinking he's gonna out-damage him. Something weird, but in one more minute time, we are gonna have the nighttime, and maybe that's when Gabby can make a play happen. There it is. It's actually KP.
Dream dies.
Dream, all right.
That is very surprising.
Meanwhile, over the mid lane, Vampire is going to be trying to go for the toss back onto Armel. Leads off of the Avalanche, close enough to get the toss back into the tower range. GPK doing a good job pulling him as far back as possible. He's going to run out of the mana shield here. Is Armel tanking up on just that alone? He has a little bit of Fairy Fire he can use as he gets into the trees and tosses the tree, and that is going to be
didn't get his Fairy Fire off.
He didn't pop the Fairy Fire, which might have allowed him to live there.
I think that would have saved his life. GPK doesn't have any more mana. Blink is on cooldown for quite some time. Maybe he just thought like there's no point in it anyways, just because he's so low. But it
better just kind of reset the lane.
Yeah.
You already got first blood anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Haste rune for GBK though, that's going to allow him to go back up to full health, full mana, and join in on this 5-minute bounty rune contest. You can see already Gambit up, bringing Van to the top lane, leaving shots low.
And bottom, March is going to get one of the bounty runes. In fact, gonna try to go for the second one. He knows that Tiny is mid.
That's going to be 3 for TNC. And it's so hard to contest Keeper of the Light for bounty runes.
Yeah, the Blinding Light just pushes you out of position. Surprised though that Dream died at top.
Yeah, that definitely shouldn't have happened, right? This is more of a harassment lane.
Yeah, this is more just like war hits you. You just show up when you've got your spells back up. It's FNG.
He might be dead here. If he gets hit by the Split Earth, he probably will die unless Dream can help him take up some damage, especially with that bash helping him out. And if anything, Tim's could be in a spot of trouble here if another bash comes down. Dream gonna time walk away, but FNG gonna be chased down by KP. He can cut through the trees if he wants to. Eventually, FNG will be found.
Tim's is going to back out entirely as Armel gets stunned up, but Vampire doesn't really have too much more for him. He's just trying to soak up some of that XP, deny some wards if he gets the opportunity.
And finds a rune to be able to reset. So an Invis rune at that for a Tiny. Definitely presents some interesting opportunities. Bottom lane, Shotchla will be forced to TP back to the shrine after getting voided and gone on. There he goes. He's going to go for the toss back on the Medusa once again, but there is going to be March coming in. Can he save him with the extra bit of mana going out? That gives him the tankiness to survive through the Sonic Blast, but it's not quite enough. GPK is able to chase him down with a blink. Another well-executed gank from Vampire.
Yeah, really well done with that Invis rune. So mid lane lead going to the Queen of Pain so far in CS. He's got he has 11 more. He's got 20 denies. GPK further proving himself. Of course, it's not fair to say that Armel lost his lane in the traditional sense. There were a lot of rotations.
Yeah, the advantage of having an Underlord off lane, right, is that the downside is you can't really kill with an Underlord, but the upside is you can move your support around as much as you want.
Yeah, because he's fine by himself. Gabby, with just the help of the Coddle, can't really do anything about him anyways.
Yeah. Max bottle efficiency here. GPK TPs into mid lane and refills Vampires as well as giving him a few charges of his own bottle. That way, Vampire can just continue to assault this triangle area and see if he can abuse Armel a bit. Failing getting a kill, maybe he can steal some experience or something. Shows up a little bit after the camps have already been farmed up, but at least he can clear through all the mana. But now he's in trouble as Tims has already made his way back. They had a ward laid out defensively, saw Vampire coming in, and Armel just baited it long enough for Tims to get here to claim the kill.
And gonna get the last hit.
So Tiny, he thought he was going to be slowing down the Medusa's farm, but if anything, he might have just sped it up.
I really like how Gabby plays his safe lane Night Stalker, by the way. He almost always just chases off the offlaner. We saw that when he played against KP2, right? Or when he played against 33. It was the Night Stalker versus Abaddon. Just never let him get his level 6. Of course, it's not that dangerous on the Underlord, but still, it's how much you know your Beastmaster's getting at the same time.
And no levels of crippling fear, just all in on the Hunter and Knight, all in on the concept of just running at these heroes. FNG, Axes come back, does hit him, and KP will manage to get that kill. Thanks to the Hage Rune he picked up earlier.
Yeah. Or expended, but we'll have it up again in 40 seconds.
Okay, Vampire does once again invade that triangle area, get some aggressive wards down, but TNC already had a sentry out, and then when sentry got taken out, they made the call that the ward was placed on the high ground, so they should be able to de-ward that sometime soon. And they just keep on trying to invade because they want to be able to pressure this tower, but first they really need to root this Medusa out of the jungle area, but she's just too tanky. Vampire certainly doesn't have the levels to be able to support this. Maybe GPK can get a kill onto March, not even bothering to blink forward, just a Sonic Wave will get the kill. Vampire, well, he keeps on finding this Medusa, farming up the stacks, but every single time Tim's
just protecting him. He knows this is their true win condition.
Yep.
Getting the Medusa farm. Gabby's going to set the tempo. But the high ground hero that they need to have a lot on him is Armel.
And the idea being is that the Tiny's going to find the Medusa, and the Quap being such a mobile hero will join him after pushing in the mid lane. But that's where March, he was sitting mid for a reason. He was spamming out the mid lane to prevent the Quap from being able to make that kind of maneuver.
And you also don't want him to take the tower.
Yeah. An aggressive push here from Gambit as the 10-minute boundary moon's going to lay out that Chronosphere, catching KP and be able to trade out 2 for 2. Now KP still has the Primal Roar, so he can try and get out of here. They turn back into the river, running into the illusion of Tim's, perfectly baited out, drawing Gambit away from that critical kill on the off-laner KP.
Yeah, and he's perfectly fine. Just going to walk himself away. He's level 7. He is going for the Necro Book just so that they can all-out push. Which, against Gambit's lineup, is not the easiest. They do have an Underlord, but in terms of killing, it's so good against the Faceless Void.
Yeah.
Even your Necro 1 will get the job done. And it's not like Dream is at the best game either. He's pretty far behind in net worth. This Beastmaster... KP, for me, has been the standout for TNC. Like, he has overperformed on so many different heroes. This mid kill, they know what the real threat to this game is. It's Armel. You can have a good Beastmaster game, but if you can kill this guy over and over...
Arch, he's trying to get there. Will be able to get his ultimate off as well as the Chakra Magic. The turnaround now as Gambit comes in. They do manage to finish off that Medusa, but it looks like it could be 2 dead from Gambit as Vampire. It's going to be chased down by Gabby eventually here. May not have the mana for a Void, but the Chakra Magic will be given to him. So they trade 2 for 1, but they're also assaulting this top lane. It looks like they should be able to get it with Beastmaster Leshrac duo.
I actually don't think that's that bad for TNC.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving the hero that requires the best early game start. This Night Stalker is going to be so beastly that he's just going to run into all the engagements for him and set the pace anyways. So giving Gabby this gold is not a bad idea either. He got the streak onto the Queen of Pain and the kill on the Tiny. Got some good levels out of it too.
Seems like TNC, that like the same thing with what they were doing earlier with the Medusa and how she was farming the jungle and they kept on getting the kill on the Tiny. They understand that they have this better win condition and they know how to be able to protect it. Because Gambit, they have to make moves. They cannot make those kind of plays.
I'd say it'd be different if their safe laner got a better start.
Yeah.
With Dream dying and KP having more or less free farm. And this Queen of Pain had so much help and she got free farm and she's still just barely ahead of the Beastmaster in net worth.
Same goes for the other side lane, right? Like Gabby totally free farmed against this Underlord. Shotchlow didn't even walk away with that much farm. He's just a bit behind the Faceless Void.
And KP already has more than 1,000 net worth over this Void, who doesn't even feel comfortable laning anymore. KP's just going to own this top triangle area.
Like, that's so scary, especially when you're going the Necrobook build, because normally there's this window where Beastmaster hits a really awkward, like he just doesn't really do a whole lot because he's still trying to build up his Necrobook, but since he's so overinflated in net worth, he's going to come online a lot faster and farm faster too as a result.
Pretty much got it. What I would like for Gambit to do is make their way towards mid.
They're going to be able to go for the Chronosphere onto Tim's, who is trying to sit away in the trees, but Dream just quickly pulls the trigger on that Chronosphere as he dives in with the rest of Gambit. Now they're going to try and take over this mid tower. We'll see whether or not TNC want to respond.
I don't think they can fight this if they just sit here as 4, which they should do. If you rotate this many heroes in, getting the kill on a Leshrac isn't that big of a deal, but grabbing the tower makes the Chronosphere worth it. You brought all 5 heroes to make this play, and the reason for this is so you can open up the jungle, and you don't just allow all the cores of TNC to get huge. You have to take away this tower.
Vampire trying to come in and steal some of that CS, and he does get that big creep, but now he's going to be caught by the hero rotations of TNC. Gabby's going to join him. Gabby, who did not have Dark Ascension earlier. It's probably part of the reason why they defend.
He's going to get his ag so fast, though, and they might make their own move towards mid because KP is so strong. I believe he's got his Necrobook 1 coming in. Tower trade. They still have a lot of kill potential on their team with the Roar.
If you're Gambit, there's no way you trade this out, right? Like,
it looks like they're going to have to. Underlord has to be in a better position for this.
Yeah.
You can't be farming anywhere else other than where people are tower pushing if you're Underlord. That's the point of the hero. Even if you die, you're so tanky that it takes them so long, you usually get some sort of rebuttal. And it's not like he'd die either. He's got a lot of HP with the hood.
Yeah. You need to be there catching the creep wave before it even gets up to the other side of the river.
And the Roar, Necrobook popped.
Well, we're going to see how tanky he is here. He does still have the hood, but he's going to be pulled back in by that Will-O-Wisp, blasted back in as well. FNG's going to be able to get a freezing field out, but they quickly escape that area, except for poor Underlord. He gets tossed into that. Now KP, he does have the Shadow Strike still on him, just a scream, and it looks like he may take out, but it could be denied at the same time. TP away, KP's actually fine, gets to the fountain.
Easy, and that was a lot expended too by Gambit.
Yeah.
You bought enough time for Gabby to pick up his Aghanim Scepter in full.
You also bought enough space on Gambit to be able to get 3 bounty runes, so something small going to their favor. But this is going to be a very critical time with the Aghanim Scepter up on Gabby with your level 2 Dark Ascension as well. And the Necrobook 1 on the Beastmaster, they have reached a big peak. They can probably run around as 4. Feeling relatively confident about taking kills. You're going to see Gabby go for this one on FNG.
I don't know what their lineup lacks on Gambit. Maybe wave clear or something like that? Or maybe it's just a positioning thing, because I feel like they shouldn't have lost their mid tower so easily, especially during the day.
I think it's definitely a positioning thing. But I mean, they've got Quap, they've got a Crystal Main, and then the big one's Underlord. Like, they should have ways to be able to deal with these creeps.
Yeah, and they made some errors too when they lost the Void at top.
Yeah.
They just allowed KP to snowball so hard.
Also, Vampire's like really far behind from him trying to like stop the Medusa so obsessively.
Yeah,
He still doesn't have his Blink Dagger.
But the fact that you didn't get to slow down anybody else, your own game was hampered so much, and it's really Gabby that is going to set the pace of this game now. He's going to just run in really aggressively, farm out wherever he feels like, and he's going to create like a shield, so you have to get past him if you want to get to the Medusa. Him and KP can just play really aggressively, force 4-on-5 fights, and they'll be perfectly okay with that. Like, they're getting a lot of map control out of this. Allow your Medusa to pick her spots and just run forward at that area.
They feel strong enough. They're doing the extra greedy play, which is March is defending the bottom tower while they take that tier 2 in top lane now. Vampire is going to try and root this March, Keeper of the Light, out of the trees, but fortunately he hides at the right time. They know he's somewhere over here because of the high ground vision that was laid out. Now they see him. Tim's spots him out. Vampire's going to need to go for some sick avalanche play here, but the Will-O-Wisp will prevent him from making any cool plays. Well, the toss to the side helps, but it only delays the inevitable.
I really like March's use of the ulti, by the way. Just pure offense.
There goes Gabby. Every single time FNG thinks he's going to be pushing out a lane, there's Gabby, gets him, final void.
And he gets the creep wave too. Almost has a full BKB already capped.
Yeah.
This guy's so big, and Medusa, as we predicted, has caught up, so all that early game damage that you did, ganking her as often as you did, you focused on the wrong guy. One will create space for the other. Yes, because Gabby will create space for the Medusa, not the other way around.
Yeah.
She'll catch up. She has so many different farm mechanics to catch up.
Yeah.
They're going to give her all the space in the world if their lanes go this way.
Especially with how easily they can defend a Medusa in that mid lane, a TP in from a Keeper of the Light. The Blinding Light plus Chakra Magic is like an insane burst of survivability. It's like you just got hit by a mech or something.
At some point, you're going to run into a position where you make that move and the Medusa just doesn't die anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas the other heroes, I feel like, were exploitable.
Dream gonna be able to get a Chronosphere out with the freezing field. They're like everything they have to be able to kill KP. He's still got a Primal Roar, but TNC, they don't want to take the fight. Even if it is nighttime, they
That's 5 heroes there.
Just a bit, yeah. That's a little bit too deep on top of a shrine. Chronosphere is down though, so TNC may still be able to force an engagement. They managed to push him back into the silence. A beautiful Blinding Light blast from March, but it's not going to result in the kill. The Queen of Pain is too tanky with the strength treads.
They know there's no Chronosphere, so Armel still very far forward. The Dark Ascension has been popped.
AoE Void, they're going to be able to get the toss of the Medusa into the rest of the enemy team, but do they actually want that? Because now she just pops her Stone Gaze, the rest of Gambit have to get out. A beautiful Dark Rift though, that actually forces so much out from TNC, and all they're going to get out of it is actually a tier 1 tower.
They're so far ahead now.
Yeah.
Inning phase, they won 2 out of 3 lanes quite dominantly, and it's showing right now. They're going to snowball this game pretty quickly, and Dream has so little farm.
Yeah, he's very far behind. As a Hanamitis, maybe when he gets the Maelstrom, things will start speeding up for him.
And if you've got this Underlord, you just have to get aggressive at defending all these tower pushes. Otherwise, the point of the hero just feels so bad. This hero isn't meant to farm anything, I feel, other than the creeps that come into his lane, or when you're pushing a lane out.
Gambit, they just push through here. 20-minute bounty runes are coming up, and they know they're behind. They got to get at least 2 of these. Meanwhile, TNC only going to stick with the Necronomicon level 1, by the way. He does have the Put a Defiance queued up after this. There's a Maelstrom for Armel. So
Every offlaner goes pipe nowadays. First item. It's going to mitigate a lot of the damage that Gambit puts out. And then Kyle will have been correct. Then they will lack damage cap.
Yep, it's coming. 6,000 net worth lead. Gambit just gonna push back and forth, finding whatever farm they can. They just gotta buy time for Dream to.
And their team fight is still very good.
Yeah,
They just need items on the Void. Once they get items on the Void, their lineup is kind of okay.
well, maybe they can fight with the Orchid. GPK has that coming in. They can't use it against the Medusa because of the Manta, but it will be a useful tool to blow up some of these supports or maybe stop well, I say that, Gabby actually already has BKB, of course. So maybe options are a bit limited.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Invisibility.
Roche by Gabby. Rest of the team nearby, and Armel gonna help him out a little bit.
I mean, that is full confidence right there. They don't have a medallion. Beastmaster certainly helps, but they don't have like this insane Roche taking hero.
They just think
still
they're
going
ahead.
for it.
Gambit's not willing to fight them, so TNC's like, screw it, we'll get aggressive.
Yeah, why not go for the one objective that almost always people are willing to defend?
Yeah, I almost feel like TNC is inviting them for fights, but Gambit, they're avoiding. They're going to try to play on the light game potential of their Faceless Void, Queen of Pain, and Underlord. I just feel like their cores are worse, though.
Yeah. This is one of those plan B scenarios, right? This is what you originally wanted, but now you're going to have to play for high ground defense.
I don't know if you really have a choice. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Fighting into all three of these cores feels real rough right now, considering how good of a start all of them had.
Yeah.
Beastmaster's starting to lag behind a little bit, but he's still a lot more than the Underlord does. And the impact that he puts out with his item build, I feel like is just better too. Probably just waiting for Natural Night.
At that point, do you think they're going to push high ground during this next nighttime? Because it is a bit of a risk, right?
They really like going high ground.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if they had pipe, they would do it.
Well, they should have it in time.
They've got a DD rune on their Night Stalker. This could also signal something.
Pipe's rolling out, as is the mech, so those are actually really big team fight items. I think you're right. But first, there's going to be pick off on Gabby potentially here with the Chronosphere. Once again, the freezing BKB off is a beautiful one. Now he's going to get off his BKB, turn around with the silence. Will-O-Wisp is so good. Now with the control up on this Faceless Void, he's so done for. They're going to be able to get the Void to slow down another 2 heroes. Get those out. The Dark Griff too far away to bail anybody of Gambit out of that situation except for the Underlord.
Armel wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Their most farmed hero wasn't even there, but the BKB gets popped. March and Tim's, their positioning in that team fight was excellent. And look at Gabby just pushed forward, does not care at all. DD rune popped. I'm really surprised that Gambit decided to make that their all or nothing play.
Especially since it was so easily diffused with the Keeper of the Light.
Yeah.
Just a single Will-O-Wisp who stops all that damage. And, well, they will manage to get the toss back here onto Tim's, but sadly, they'll follow through.
I actually think they sort of lack control outside of that Chronosphere.
Yeah.
Chrono never feels good when you're the only tool to initiate with. No real stuns on their team. And again, not to bring it up again, but, you know, their Underlord, the point of the hero feels neutered real hard. They weren't able to defend their towers out, so now you've just got a hero that doesn't initiate for you. So we're going to see again the initiation. They saw Gabby a little bit further away from his team.
But I mean, he even blinding lighted first.
Yes.
He could have Will-O-Wisp even sooner. I mean, that was such an easily defended team fight right there.
And you're going on the target that has, you can see KP, he's really amped. He feels the win right now.
Yeah.
Normally it's like, the rule is like, you know, chill out, let the game finish first, but you can tell he's getting excited because if they're not winning that fight, and the Dusa wasn't even there, your hardest hitter, your tankiest guy with the Aegis, what hope do they really have?
Yeah, what hope do they have when they get to level 20 with a Scotty on Armel? Now, it's no longer that big boost in mana, the plus 800 it used to be at level 20, but it's still, with the Mystic Snake cooldown, that it is double snakes if he wants it. Or the Stone Gaze duration, which is so hard to fight into for heroes like Void.
Dire's top shrine is fallen.
Natural nighttime is up. We'll see if TNC do indeed try and go for the push in this next 5 minutes.
Pick off by Gabby so far. Looks like
Smart TP away.
TP out, and GPK is immediately going to retreat off of this. But Armel, the walking tower, is just going to start hitting top now. I think that's the full Scotty flying towards him.
And Gambit desperate to get some pushes in the side lane. GPK is hoping by hitting this tier 2 someone will come back, but no, TNC go for the high ground. They're immediately going to jump in with a nice Will-O-Wisp, and the follow-up of a Blink Dagger from Gabby managed to get the Underlord. No spells are going to return, and Shashlo is going to be going down here from the boar, and Vampire may just be chased all the way to the ends of the fountain, especially with the Chakra Magic, giving her a fresh round of Void. Gabby and the rest of TNC march into the Gambit.
That's how confident they feel.
GPK, they're saying, like, you cannot keep on going for this bottom lane. You're going to have to come back and defend. They do have the Chronosphere up, but 1 tier 4 is already down. Gambit, they got to start setting up in a hurry, and if they're not careful, they're going to start dying back on some of these heroes as Gabby tries to threaten FNG a little bit. Both tier 4s down. TNC
got to be careful about chasing this because TNC will fight. They won't abandon their Medusa here. The backline still strong, letting Armel sit in front, daring them to go on him. They might not have the roar, but the follow-up damage is still there. They've got the Blink Dagger on the Night Stalker. They're going to safely escort Armel to the shrine.
All right, well, you did get the BKB for Dream, and the Aegis has expired. Gambit,
Dire's bottom
you know, I hate to say it, but you might just have to try and fight into a TNC with a 15,000 net worth lead. I don't think you can afford another salt on the base like that.
Yeah, I don't think it gets better either as the game goes on.
Yeah.
I don't think their cores match up well enough.
For Staff or Vampire, who else? Just fishing for items at this point, hoping that Gambit have something that's going to change their fate. Otherwise, they're going to have to just roll over as Armel immediately starts targeting GPK, who blinked into that, is going to be forced into a BKB for just the physical damage. No, he's going to turn on a Dream instead. Dream is going to be able to get his BKB and will be able to time walk it off. The Dark Rifts should be able to get everyone to safety.
Yeah, he's got his Blink Dagger up again. He might just go for the chase. He still has his DD room.
They need the rest of the team. Vampire's going to try and come in with a Force Staff. He does manage to save him. Can they catch Gabby? No.
Not even close, but both BKBs defensively used. GPK thought he had an opening there. Was trying to get away from the Beastmaster. And now Armel, he does not care. He is hitting this without the creeps, not even really dealing damage to it, but he's just doing it because why not?
Once again, the highlights of
They could just
the
wait.
fight is...
Keep in mind, they could wait for the Aegis, and they're not going to.
No.
Gabby's gonna break the smoke on this left side. To give them no opportunities to defend it.
Gambit. What's your way to start this fight? What is the strategy? It's got to be some sort of toss back. I'm not sure if you want to go for the... No such. The Christmas onto Armel. Light again. Will Wisp is lighting. For Gambit, they're gonna have to retreat back to their phone, but they've already lost their two supports, and Underlord stuck here with no damage. He try and fight up against Gabby. No such luck there. They're just gonna call it. They know it just doesn't matter if their cores live through this fight. They don't have the damage to deal with TNC.
And TNC is up here embarrassing good teams.
They're on a roll.
It feels so scary to play into them.
Yeah.
They beat you in the early game when they've got
TNC Predators turned.
Really predictable. On the previous game.
Nice bit of flex from TNC out of the box.
Yeah. This is exactly where they want to be. Like Bloodseeker and Lich, it's now just shoring up their lanes. It's ensuring too that they can change the tempo of the game up nicely. While TNC open it with the Ogre support, we see KP, who's played a lot of Ogre in the past as well. So they're not pigeonholed either. It's just a good start from both sides.
Do Gambit need to come up with something a little bit crazier, Toby? Something a bit miney.
Oh, stop! Can we? Paul, please.
Yes.
Too early.
Am I enabling him?
Yes, you are.
Right,
you don't need to discuss.
I don't need to.
I will say just until if it does get picked up, then we can talk about it. That I actually think Vampire is the best techies player in professional Dota. I have not seen someone play that hero any better than him, and their loss they had early in this tournament was not on him.
What's funny is it's actually well, it's really, really good against Bloodseeker Lich, but it's not.
It's not what TNC will ever pick. It takes time to understand how to play that hero, but it also takes time to understand how to play with that hero. So like the team has to like it, or else it just doesn't work. Sorry, we'll move on, Kyle.
I just over here lighting matches, lighting them under Toby.
They've picked Lich 3 times so far this tournament, but it was all second phase. This is the first time they're going to first phase it, and it's already, in a way, been handled. The shield prevents physical damage, sure, reduces it rather, but now you have Lina Ogre, incredibly high magic burst, which is very effective against heroes like Bloodseeker, who are going to self-buff themselves, sure, but then they also take that amp damage. Oh!
Hey, we get to talk about it! We have a techies!
Okay, well, you're on your own, buddy. Good luck with the draft. Kyle and I, we're both done, right, Kyle? Are you done? Okay, I'm done.
All right, hey, Cap, if you want to switch over, I'll cast this game for you, man. You can come and panel for it. Techies is up. I actually have both Red and Kyle who've walked away from the panel right now. Chen Answer from TNC, a bit of a pain in the butt to techies, but it's not that bad. And an Alchemist as well.
You think TNC were ready for this? Because it feels that way.
Come on, we were ready for this.
It's totally ready for this.
Yep.
Like, this is not the techies game you want. Like the worst thing a techies can go against is a creep that's able to tank not 1 mine but 2. Like it doesn't matter if a creep walks in and just kills off 1 mine. That's fine. That's farm. But if they can start taking out multiples, then you're in trouble. An Alchemist, he's the core who can walk through the minefield and not care.
Exactly. And so I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say, before we even see the last picks,
the TNC of 1.
I guarantee TNC win this game.
It's because wait. You also have the other argument that a team that has an Alchemist is going to win.
Correct.
Yep.
And that's why I love this. And also credit to TNC for being prepared for something that I would never have thought we'd see in an upper bracket final. But they're clearly ready for a techies pick.
So there is one really big advantage that Gambit can really utilize here, and that's the fact that the movement of Chen will always be scouted out, and you're able to get a lot of early burst damage in. So Chen's influence in the early part of the game may be really limited once techies, like if he goes right, which I assume he will, with the blast off early on, you're actually able to harass the support heroes out of the lane, and with the survivability of Bloodseeker and what Lich is able to provide as well, you can move the techies so it doesn't just have to be this 2-1-2 style lineup. The SK is very adept at being by himself, and that allows the techies to actually prep multiple areas on the map.
Yeah, so everything Toby said is cool and all. Alchemist, however, will have Radiance, BKB, a Heart, a Manta, really whatever he wants by about 18 minutes. I don't even think techies will be level 12 by then.
Okay, so there's a secondary phase then. So techies is only meant to secure lane and then control region. So if Gambit actually put some effort into this and push up and start controlling the area the Alchemist is able to farm and watch it, you're able to put these, I like calling them like the Trinity mines. It's basically a triangle position of a mine with a stasis trap in the middle, and because
he's got names for them.
Of course I do. Come on, this is the one hero I can actually be analytical about. And with the stasis trap in the middle, you'll trigger 2 no matter what when you walk into it, and it gets a high amount of damage, and it's able to be put on the choke points around the farming areas. The changes to the map that happened a while ago actually allow you to just put 3 of these traps down, and you can control an entire section of the jungle.
I see. Thank you very much.
So if Gambit do this and
Yes.
start contesting
And-
TNC's jungle, then I like it.
and
But yeah,
as-
TNC's draft is really good.
As the great strategist Sun Tzu did say, he who controls the high ground choke points does have a significant advantage in warfare. And when you're
Yes.
playing against the techies, you know, we're going back in time. You got to watch out, booby traps and all that.
Yes.
You see a
Don't look at me, I'm broken over here.
You need a crazy hero now for Gambit. Your win condition is.
You've already got a crazy hero. What are you on about?
No, you need something. You need to get wilder here.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
TNC, they have this perfect duck lineup. They've got an ogre to buff his ability to farm, like Chen to secure lanes. You've got tower pressure, a ton of burst. Gambit need team fight, and they need something that can also just eat towers. They need to just crush this map somehow. Meepo, really, even into Alesh, I think is still possibly your best pick.
Yeah, I would still go for it too. Like it's that type of that fast momentum that you're able to play with some level of space that gets created. Techies doesn't work like, even though you think he's a late game hero, it's only because he's dragging the game out. He doesn't actually help you win the game late. You need a hero who's just able to explode.
Remember StarCraft? It's like you want to play.
The resources are drained on the map.
It's
Please
trying
don't.
to push with the
Please don't
siege
push it.
tanks, okay?
It's a gyro.
Yeah.
Is that crazy enough for you, Kyle, or
It
seems a bit timid to me?
Sure, Gambit could win all of their lanes, crush the game, get early BKB, take 3 towers before TNC take any, dominate Alchemist throughout the game, steal his stacks, block his Ancients. It's
Blow
possible.
stuff up.
Yeah, and just create a bunch of Trinity positions throughout the enemy jungle to prevent Alchemist from accelerating.
Terminology. I have not mentioned complexity once on this panel. You keep your mouth shut.
Well, they don't have a Dota team anymore, Toby, so that'd be a little
I wonder why.
irrelevant.
All right, which way are you going? Has the techies pitched you, or are you on the Alchemist train?
I'm trying to think of like some challenge. Like, I feel like I'd lose enough face if Toby's somehow right and this techies comes through and looks like it's an actual hero. He will, if they can get there. 251 damage on that level 25 talent, the most in Dota 2.
Okay, all right.
Pay dividends.
This is
Enough nonsense now. I'm going to let them carry on arguing, and we'll see who's right at the end of game number 2. It's a techies game.
It's not a 251. Don't do it 250.
It's not too often that Toby is the smartest man on a panel, but fortunately for us, Kyle makes sure that all of his co-panelists look good. Blitz, what do you think about this lineup?
I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Like techies versus an Alk, I feel like the pace of the game might be a little bit too fast for the techies.
Mm-hmm. Well, we certainly see what the audience thinks about that. Is that the most one-sided betting we've seen so far?
9-1 is pretty crazy.
Those are some pretty
9-1
one-sided odds for sure. Well, we're going to see whether or not Gambit can make some magic happen. Maybe it's science with some techies picked. Vampire, I do agree with Toby, though, that I think Vampires is like probably the best techies in Dota right now. Also one of the few people running it, but still, he had
Everyone
sick techies.
on his team is already tipping him. But do they have the lineup to deal with it? They've got a lot of range damage onto towers, and they have a really, really tanky core in the Alchemist. That really leads me to believe that their lineup might be good enough to do this, but of course there are other heroes on the side of Gambit. You've got plenty of different ways to stop a tower push.
Chen creeps to run into mines, tanky heroes like Ogre and Alchemist.
I'm listening to like 2 different groups of people shout Gambit, but they're not doing it coordinated.
Got to sync up the sides of the room together.
They're like, Gambit, Gambit.
Bit of an echo chamber.
Yeah, just follow that guy. He knows what he's doing.
Fight over the bounty runes. GPK is going to join Shachalo up at top lane, and they're going to leave the techies at bottom for a defensive tri-lane at the start. But because Gambit was able to secure that top one, they're actually going to get 3 of the first bounty runes.
Already a win over an Alk lineup.
I thought maybe Vampire would like try and stick it out in bottom lane, just because this is going to be kind of a tough lane for a Bloodseeker, right? This much magic damage. Alina, Ogre, Magi lane. Ogre's a hero that can man fight you when you try and challenge him. You've got chain stun opportunities.
I need GPK to dominate this matchup, even though I don't think it's an easy matchup for him to dominate.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to just ask a lot out of him, because I feel like if this out gets online too late or too soon, a lot of the heroes on Gambit are gonna feel useless.
What do you have to do to win this matchup as Gyrocopter?
You have to find positions where you have to, like, you're gonna get 1 or 2 moments where your rocket will catch somebody out. You just all in black.
Trade off back and forth of spells at bottom lane. FNG and Tim's going at it as they both try and do what they can against this Bloodseeker. There's the chain stun combo against FNG, taking a lot of damage as a result. Our top lane, a nice little combo though. Sand King and Techies. A lot of magic damage, a stun to be able to set up the Suicide Blast off.
FNG already getting pretty low, but this Lina Ogre combo, like you said, it's pretty deadly.
Yeah,
KP feels real good about taking these fights, and this should be a kill on FNG. First blood goes the way of KP.
Do manage to get the blood right damage on the other two, so that'll take away some regen. And yeah, sure, Dream will get some CS, but at the end of the day, it is a lane that is going to be very difficult for this Bloodseeker, especially with a nice pull coming out from
This
Tim.
mid matchup, I'm asking the impossible of GPK.
Yeah.
Bottom lane, a lot of damage going on a Dream. He's gonna throw out another blood right, connects on a Tim's, who's gotta be careful. He's gonna back himself away.
They didn't bring a healing salve. I thought FNG was going to bring a healing salve with him to this lane. That way Dream could actually heal up, because he doesn't have Blood Rage and he only has a single Tango, so this is not great.
Maybe he thought he wasn't going to be in this position. GPK getting low from all the trading with this Alchemist.
That is one of the dangers, right? When you feel so pressured to like, oh, I got to kill this guy, I got to kill this guy. Sometimes you just overplay your hand.
Yes, and that's what, it's difficult because you need to shut him out.
Yeah.
But I think it is kind of a free lane for Al, because he never feels the threat of the kill.
Yeah.
Maybe a gank, but who's going to gank him? The Techies?
Yeah, we saw that last time where the missile was put on him and GBK tried to position himself for a good rocket barrage. Armel just hid inside of his own creep wave.
Yeah, he's got to push out the lane first, but the hard part is Alk does the same to you by just laying down the acid.
GBK really playing with fire right now. Can't really go into the acid spray to complete this kill. He's gonna walk through it now. He does have Fairy Fire as well as a healing salve.
That scared me.
That was a little close, but a low health Alchemist does help out the Bloodseeker lane at least. Gabby trying to chase the Sand King out of the Sandstorm.
Now's an opportunity for GPK to get some damage off.
Yeah, that was great. Keep this up though, Dream.
This bottom lane though is such a worry for me.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bloodseeker trades very evenly here.
It's okay. He's still doing all right in CS. Like, even though this is going to be a tough
He might
lane.
have his opportunity pretty soon, but the lane is going to push the other way. And he needs some regen brought to him if he wants to get aggressive.
Black Cannon shots, extra regen coming in for Armel as well. This is just the trade-off. That top lane, they're going to get the Burrow Strike. Blast off being threatened by a Vampire. Doesn't complete it, though. That he's not nearly low enough. Bottom lane with all that damage onto Tim's KP. I mean, this is all up to GBK right here. He keeps on threatening Armel and bringing him low. Even if he hasn't gotten the kill, it's what allows the Bloodseeker to go for the Lina like that. Gabby forced to teleport back. March will bring him back in with check.
I think Armel's dead.
Yeah, it looks like a double damage. That's going to be good enough. GPK, you said you're going to ask the impossible of him to hard win a lane against the Alchemist, and he finally does.
Yeah, Armel just decided, I think he just decided to die there.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from GPK, but he saw the DD rune, he's like, I'm low.
Yeah, just time to reset.
Yeah.
And GBK is now going to be in a position where he can't really threaten the Alch anymore until he has his regen come in. Vampire gonna have to go for the blast off and does manage to get the deny in time.
And the nice part of the blast off is it brings Gabby a little bit lower, which speeds up Dream. Is like a bit better, but he's so even right now from both sides.
3 bounty runes for an Alchemist lineup, but GBK is gonna try and dive Armel a little bit. Has his level 6, he's got
Just
call
trying to get
down as
6.
well. And so now He is going to have the task of trying to invade the jungle. Meanwhile, bottom lane, the chain stun goes out. Dream is going to play underneath the Blood Right. And Tim's actually tanks it just to keep right-clicking Dream some more.
Empire down here wants to set up for a kill. Oh, and will stick around for a little bit too long. Gonna lay down a mine. The stun's gonna come.
This is an opportunity right here because Dream does need some help. Vampire's gonna keep on running behind and lay a mine out first. He wants FNG to get here. He really wants this look. He wants the extra stuns, and now he's gonna show up. Two-man hit with the blast off, and KP, he's gonna try and kill the support, but it looks like Tim's gonna be run down by Dream, very easily getting that kill, and Vampire will be able to get out. If anything, KP may still die. If the Blood Right lands, KP jukes it to the left. That means he's pretty far away from any safety. Slowed down, Dream sped up from the Thirst. Might be able to still run him down, except for Lena's going to TP in, so maybe not a good LSA, but a nuke comes out from FNG. That actually completes the kill.
Nice rotation down by both supports, helping out Dream's game quite a bit.
Oh, look at that. He got a regen rune too, so they don't even have to pop the shrine together.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
All things considered, this is a great start for Gambit, and I think both you and the panel really emphasized they needed a good start.
Yes, they need to roll this laning phase. They're going to stand a chance at winning. Empire going to lay out a ward pretty aggressively.
Yeah, is that a courier sniping ward? Like, what else is that ward for? For like, is he going to go for a remote mine, a deep remote mine play?
I guess. Try to get the jungle going?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, yeah, I guess that kind of ward we'll see, maybe see the Alchemist as he rotates into the triangle sometime. Meanwhile, though, GPK, he hasn't really tried to address the jungle. Instead, just to try to address that mid tower as soon as possible, and he did a good job of it. The tower already down to 118 health. If he can kill that tower, loosen a bit of the dire hold on the jungle. Top lane, Shotchel and Gabby playing underneath the Sandstorm, but Gabby, he has the superior firepower. That's the advantage of this Leshrac pick against the Sand King. Very nicely played.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
They keep trying to get aggressive on bottom lane, but he just Blood Right, heals himself up through the Blood Rage. GPK takes mid tower at a very good time.
Yeah, he just went in. He knew it was low enough that he could just backdoor it.
He's doing very well for himself in this lane.
Yeah. So now he can push in the mid lane, which will allow him to either rotate into the jungle and try and address Armel, or he can go to the side lanes. A haste rune, that's an opportunity for sure, especially with the phase boots he already has.
If they could somehow invade the stack, that would be a pretty game-winning play from Gambit. If they could find out where the stack is. GPK hasted is currently trying to.
Wraps around behind mid, showing his haste rune off in the last few seconds. The rupture in bottom lane on KP, but the tanky Ogre Magi, that was kind of the concern. The Ogre as a core, good stand up to the Bloodseeker. And the, like, more times they go on this bottom lane and fail to get the kill, the less pressure they're able to put out on the other TNC heroes, specifically this Alchemist.
Yeah, they just want this passive phase right now of the game while their Alp gets closer and closer, like you said. Just chill out, let the Tim's Lena push out mid lane. Let everybody else deal with that. You're gonna hit this really sick timing anyways with the Lesh core and the Alchemist. You have two ways to frontline against towers. Just don't let Vampire get too involved into the game. Get levels, get those remote mines up. Be that nuisance we saw in that game against Quincy Crew.
I do like the fact that Gambit aren't trying to like disguise their pushes too much. They're just going for like, okay, TNC isn't gonna fight our Gyrocopter. Let's just go for it. Bottom lane though, they are gonna be able to get the rupture on Gabby. Chen brought him into this push, but now Shotchel is gonna try and make a kill happen here. It's gonna lead off onto KP. KP getting into the trees until he's pulled back by FNG. And Gabby, who still has the rupture on him, is kind of stuck. Vampire's gonna go for the deny of the blast off. Does manage to get it. Doesn't hit the damage onto Gabby, but it looks like Dream may be able to get him. The body blocks were almost there from that Frost Ogre, but it looks like it was actually good enough. He doesn't want to chase Gabby underneath the tier 1 tower. Instead, they're going to have to content themselves with a kill on March, which I'm sure they are pretty content. They got a fine position and a 3 and the bounty runes here in bottom lane and 1 at top.
They got 3 bounty runes. They're going to feel real good about that. And they're winning these mini skirmishes.
And they're getting the tower. GPK, he's going to be able to backdoor this one.
Yeah, I really like how GPK is playing. being very aggressive. He doesn't want to get into a...
Uh-oh. They baited him in to try and go for the tower, and he got the multicast. That'll allow Gabby. Oh, he doesn't actually hit the splitter. That's going to be a bit of trouble. Now he should be able to run him down still with all that magic damage, unless the missile creates enough space. KP tries to rear up the fireflies, and he gets another multicast. Of course you do, KP. FNG runs out of damage. 25 HP left on that Ogre. He has vision of him too, thanks to the thirst of the Bloodseeker. And that is Dream, who's going to come up to this top lane.
He's coming up here fast.
Oh, he knows he's denying the tower right now. He can't actually get to it in time.
He's trying to do what he can.
The Bloodrite comes in. He's going to be able to dodge that, rupture out, and eventually
Just runs in circles.
Dream will get that kill. Still though, KP, he killed the Gyrocopter and he got the deny on the tower. Well worth it.
Radiant's middle tower.
At bottom, Tims does his level 6, but won't have nearly enough damage to get rid of Shachlo. But all this time is created for one hero and one hero only.
Top tower. Top out.
This Alchemist has been farming the jungle. He's had a very good time of it, and it's not even like they're trading out very poorly, as we're going to see again the replay. And it all leads with the miss stun by Gabby. This should have been so much easier for them.
Especially because of the multicast. But just a little off point there. GPK with just a really good read on the situation, running up, knowing that Gabby would probably overshoot his split earth, anticipating GPK to just run straight back. Still though, that Radiant's just 800 gold away for Armel. But, you know, the rest of Gambit, all their cores are looking pretty good right now, as the Bloodseeker has a 500 lead on the Leshrac, the only core you really can compare to at this point.
Armel running past the mine. Seemed like he wants to stop to kill it.
Radiant
Vampire hit now has hit his level 6, which is very crucial for him in slowing down some of these tower pushes.
That's certainly another big thing, right? Is they've managed to take down towers, haven't lost a tower themselves. Gambit can just play the river and up against TNC.
And you've got KP going for this Midas, and their lineup is slowing down a little bit while they wait for Armel to get that Radiance.
Yeah. Gambit has also taken a minute or two. Not trying to make any moves just yet. Vampire will start setting up inside the enemy jungle with his Soul Ring and Clarities. Gabby, he can run around, try and go for some of these towers with Boots of Travel, but the mines are making it really annoying for him as he rotates around. Especially with the Sand King also defending with his Sandstorm. There's not a lot of opportunities for you to use a good Diabolic Edict.
Sand King still trying to catch up in this game. Wants to be a little bit more ahead than this. Dream,
yeah, he
set up the rupture. This is going to be a pretty easy kill if nobody else from TNC is going to follow through.
Blast off incoming, an extra big boost of damage.
This is pretty unfortunate that he's not going to get his Midas during this time.
That's true.
And you're going to get 2 BKBs potentially at a very good time for Gambit. And I think they want to get into these fights early on where the Lesh and the Alk Radiance doesn't do that much damage when they get double BKB.
Right.
is under attack.
But the Alk is getting so far ahead.
Double BKB plus the pipe that's going to be on our Sand King.
Yeah, but look at how far Armel is. Maybe it doesn't even matter at this rate. It's 3,000 gold ahead of anybody else in the game.
They need a good smoke gank at this point, or they need to be faster at taking these towers. One or the other. It's funny how just controlling one small area of the map with an Alchemist lineup is good enough for you. They forfeited almost everything else but this triangle. But as long as they keep stacking for him and such, they push out the lane. Shachlo is going to be blown up here in the bottom with Tims and Gabby combining forces now. Vampire is going to start setting up some remote mines and maybe a blast off, but sentries laid out all over the place.
If you're looking for Radiant's bottom tower,
Looking like a tier 1 for tier 2 trade-off here.
top tower has fallen.
An experience advantage for Gambit for sure, because they're able to spread out and farm jungle.
Gotta be careful. Was getting quite low. But Alkno now going for the BKB. They're gonna secure themselves some bounty runes. They'll grab 2. Pushes his lead even further. Pretty much has the BKB now because of that.
stacks for GPK's Gyrocopter, who is also going for a very fast BKB rather than the Aghanim Scepter. That'll slow down his farm, but it will mean he hits a very big mid-game window, as you were talking about, double BKBs. It does kind of feel like they have stalled out. They did really well for themselves, I would say, in the laning phase. I think they kind of overplayed their lanes a bit, the Gyrocopter especially.
I think this is partially due to techies, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really push with this hero, right? You're going to be... Yep. You're creating an area of the map where the enemy team can't go, but getting yourself even further than that is just a little bit more difficult.
They spot the Lina. FNG will be able to grab him here. A blast off, not quite enough mana. Does have it now. It's only level 1 anyway, so they really
want
need
him to run into
to be able to hit this damage, and he does run into some mines now. They're going to throw out the Chain Frost. The blast off doesn't actually land. The Chen heal comes out as well.
Now Vampire's quite low.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, especially he's going to bop the Soul Ring. Of course he does. Lays down a mine, but that's just going to lead to his doom.
I think they were trying to corral him into the mine so they wouldn't have to commit, but they end up just getting him killed instead, and the Chain Frost didn't even really connect too hard as Armel runs through a bunch of mines, doesn't seem to care at all, has that BKB complete. Maybe they start going for this mid tower now with the techies dead.
Part of the ineffectiveness of the techies was the fact they have this Leshrac versus tanking matchup, right? Like that lane, if you play against a lot of safe lane carries, you're going to just dominate it with Burrow Strike and high levels of blast off. But he knew they couldn't actually do anything because you need to max out Sandstorm, not Burrow Strike. You don't have the range to get on top of that Leshrac, so what's the point of leveling blast off in the first place?
And if they win the Sentry War, then you're going to get pushed out of your Sandstorm every single time.
Yeah.
Especially when you hit level 6, which is what we saw when they killed him twice.
Yeah, most people can't fight underneath Sandstorm because it's too much damage over time.
And actually ping successfully. They know where he is. They're going to run into him right now. Gabby finds the Yule Scepter, the stun.
Burrow Strike fast enough. He's still getting hit by the stun. Gets a little bit of distance, but there's then the LSA to follow up, then the Fire Blast, then the Laguna Blade, and then you're dead. Over to mid lane.
Almost has a heart now.
I mean, look at that, man. He just farmed underneath the Gyrocopter's ultimate. He's like,
Almost 6k ahead of anybody else in the game.
Okay. Maybe the narrative of this game changes a little bit.
All right.
It seems like Gambit are like, they're running out of time. They just can't seem to hit the base anymore. So can they just like stall and go late? The Alchemist is going to have this big mid-game hit, right? Can you actually out-carry him, start going for those 6-slotted Gyrocopter when the Alch is, 8-slotted?
I don't think so. I feel like the Alch is going to push the pace a little bit too fast for the techies, especially once he gets the heart. How many mines do you think it'll take for him to die?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of mines.
Do you think they'll push without sentries? These are the questions you answered.
I think you buy a gem at some point, too.
Once you get that gem, what do you do? And TNC are some of the more prolific gem buyers in Dota. They'll do it even if you don't have a techies on your team.
Yeah.
They just love that vision control when they're ahead. That's why it feels so suffocating to play against them, is you lose that lead, you start to lose your map, they deward everything.
Their Dota IQ is like off the charts when it comes to reading who's stronger in these team fights. When they know they're stronger, they're just like, all right, we're just going to play around each other and run at you with a gem, and what are you going to do?
I mean, you have to see confused by that. If they run into Coop in the KP here, not ideal for them.
Lead off. Yeah, as you said, not ideal, but a pickoff nonetheless.
Yeah, kill is a kill at this point. Tim's also might get caught out here. Thinking about going for one more wave, but looks like he's just going to blast it out. Go for the TP, should be just fine. Not even close. He's got the Aether Lens. They're just trying to play this distance battle against his techies, which I think is the right idea. Yeah. Very close to the heart on Armel, which is the item I think they wait for. He's got 3,000 HP now.
Yeah, he's got his whole inventory is just shades of orange, yellow, and red. All strength items. 3,000 HP with Magic Community, now 3,700 HP.
Run through all the mines.
Yeah, just, run wherever you want to. I mean, the vision game is great for Gambit for now, because of all those mines and such, but now that Armel can just go,
now they will say
more magic resistance creeps too.
All right, so now they're gonna say challenge him. We have a Chen. He's got infinite heals, divine favored. Do something about it. Oh, Tim's don't run there, don't run there, don't run there, don't run there. No! Oh no, he's gonna die, he's gonna die.
Our first techies kill. I like how he only exploded one of the remote mines. Very Very well done by him. That was nice control. Poor Tim's. That man's in what is looking to be a winning game. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's still, I feel for him. Because he doesn't know where anything is at that point, and he's just panicking. That's the thing about techies. Once you hear that noise and you get hit by the first remote,
10-6, Empire. Just trying to play on this high ground, but the core Ogre can just wander up. There is going to be Armel TPing in. He stuns himself with the unstable concoction, but they still manage to get the Yules. Shashlo doesn't have actually Burrow Strike up, so he can't actually get away from any of this right now, and he's going to be chased down by TNC pretty easily.
Yeah, that's 2 kills for them. They still have all the magic res creeps, like you said. Arch is walking around just picking up even more to add to his commune. This is just so hard to deal with. They've almost got a pipe on this Ogre. As we see again, Tim's. Come on, man, just back up. You don't need to be here. Just let Alk do this.
Well, that was terrifying. A straight mech for Munch. No boots required. Just run around, giving 40 magic resistance and a mech. It's happy times. Alright, well, let's see what Gambit do about this. They have plenty of smokes. They have the Aghanim Scepter. Oh, actually, he went away from that BKB. Didn't notice that. He went the Aghanim Scepter, so he's going to go sort of the late game build. He's going to say, all right, now it's pretty much Gambit's turn, right? To say,
oh boy, KB.
We can't fight into them. Let's just move to the other side of the map.
He barely takes damage against all those mines.
Yeah.
And now Armel is going to say, I'm Alk with a Chen, and I've got a heart. I regen for 167. I've got a pipe and 4 magic resist creeps. How much damage do I take?
He's up to 62% magic resistance.
It's just silly.
And Techie's mines, they aren't magic, or
they're gonna find GPK
more either, so that is a nasty pickoff, because GPK is like the only hero they cannot afford to die right now. He's just got to keep on farming with his Aghanim Scepter, build into the Butterfly and Mjolnir, whatever else you build against an out that's 6 slotted.
He is now about 10,000 gold ahead of anybody. And Gabby's gonna look for it. There is a Burrow Strike available. Still gonna get stunned out, and he's got vision of him. Probably doesn't do enough damage though.
Yeah.
With that hood.
What's unfortunate is that like it feels like we're just not really utilizing Dream at all. You know, it's like everything is just TNC going on somebody, and either they get the kill or they don't, and then they just move forward.
Dream's trying. I think he's just frustrating because he can't fight into this Alk, and as long as everybody from TNC sits behind him, nobody really wants to be in this place.
It was already hard enough because, you know, he had to lane against the Ogre too, another hero that's hard to like just rupture and go kill.
Yeah.
His only real hope is combining with the Sand King to kill that Leshrac.
Now they're gonna walk into Roche. Alk lineups like this with Chen and Ogre, or like a pipe carrier in general, just, it feels so funny. It's like, do something. You can't? All right, well, then you've just lost. You're slowly gonna lose.
They didn't bother throwing sentries into the pit before Armel walked in.
Armel is so unconcerned about dying in this game.
Yeah. In this room, they're gonna lead off with a rupture onto KP.
Armel's gonna pop his ulti now though, and the
Armel, keep on getting bashed. No, he gets off the unstable concoction. Outside the pit for a moment, dance around.
He doesn't Roche like incredibly quickly or anything. It's just Gambit is struggling to find any sort of way to initiate on him. Shashlo does have that blink dagger. I think he might actually
Bloodright's gonna reveal. They're gonna go for the epicenter. He's just gonna go to the Burrow Strike, and he grabs it. He grabs it in time. Shashlo, and he gets the Aegis and the last hit onto the Roshan. Don't think he's getting out of here alive, but you did your best, buddy.
It was very well done.
Yeah.
He wasted a good 2 minutes of their time.
Yep.
Got the last hit.
And Gambit, we're not positioned well enough.
Now Tim's has just died because of that.
Tim's.
He walks up the hill without his Alk first. Did not utilize the buddy system.
See that one again. Bloodright giving a lot of vision, and as they lose that vision, Shashlo.
That timing couldn't have been better.
Perfect. Unstable concoction being activated by Armel, but Dream has a good read of this, plays inside the trees before he TPs back.
And now gem picked up by the Alchemist. That's what we talked about. They will pick it up. It's only 9,000 gold ahead, which isn't insurmountable, and they do have 2 very nicely scaling cores.
Yep, they do. Both the Bloodseeker and the Gyrocopter are a decent chunk ahead of Leshrac, and especially KP's Ogre Magi.
Tower is under attack.
TNC did sacrifice a lot of their farm to give Armel most of it, and Gabby the remainders. Everybody else is going to be suffering in net worth. Then again, KP doesn't need too many items. He just wants Pipe. Now he's going to go Lotus Orb, anything to make the Alchemist
Buff this man up. Even Solar Crest after Vlad's, I'm okay with any of it. So you want to hit this timing window while your Alch is so far ahead of anybody else in the game.
Well, I guess there's going to be one more big item timing coming in. Gabby completing his BKB. And TNC are just going slowly but surely, pushing in all the lanes. You can hit this tier 2, then rotate through into mid lane. Just trying to corral Gambit deeper and deeper inside their base. And Gambit doing their best to resist that pressure. Trying to stay away from TNC while simultaneously pushing every lane out. But TNC is not in.
Is Raven? Don't answer that.
Looks like they want to continue going even without the Aegis. I think they read that their timing is just way too good right now on this Alch. And I think they've also correctly read that there's no way that he can have mines down here. So Armel just going to go at it with the Edict. The Frost Armor is not helping this tower one bit. The tower's going to fall so quickly. The Chain Frost is going to get laid out just to kill the creeps, to slow down the wave.
Just to see if they can bring back the backdoor protection at some point, just to slow this all down. The blast off to be able to silence up Armel. They stun him as well. He has taken no damage at all. That was like 2% of his HP, and it was instantly regen back up.
Armel still trying to challenge them to fight him. They don't have the best initiation cap, but you don't really need that if you just have this guy run forward at all times as like this unstoppable force.
Yeah, your initiation is just kind of hitting objectives.
Him being alive.
Forcing Gambit. Eventually, you do have to defend. For now, though, Gambit will give up 1 lane and a shrine.
Scanning for enemies.
And this Techie's high ground, it is vaunted, but he's relying on the reputation of it more than the mine placement.
Yeah.
You've got to place so many mines down there to deter the Alchemist, and they do have the gem.
And he still needs his Aghanim Scepter, too.
Yeah, he's got to deal with the waves more than anything.
Yeah.
Rather than just having mines up by his tower.
Maelstrom for Dream, a very late one. 28-minute Maelstrom.
Mal's picked up a Basher for himself so he can one-on-one fight this Bloodseeker.
Game plan for Gambit. Smoke up, see if we can get a pick off, especially around this Leshrac, who's always pushing in the lane that the Alchemist is not in. But he does so very safely. Gabby with
trying to place a ward from the low ground.
Oh, they have vision of him. They don't really have the cleanest initiation because the Sand King's just a bit too far away.
Here, the Radiant's top tower. Radiant's top tower?
I'm really surprised they didn't try and force that kill onto the Leshrac.
I think it's a hard kill. He's got BKB up.
Yeah, that's true. They only have the 1 stun with the Burrow Strike. I guess technically they have Sinister Gaze, but that doesn't last too long.
Radiant lost their rejuvenation.
Aeon Disc for Tim's, another hero they're not going to feel comfortable initiating on. So who do they go for? Do they go for the Aeon Disc support, the Chen that doesn't matter, or the 3 very tanky cores? Well, they're just going to run at the Gambit crew, and a lot of mines. They're going to have a lot of mines down. That's going to do a lot of damage to KP. They're going to try and turn GPK, laying out some flat cannon shots. Armel is certainly not the hero they're going to be able to bring down, but maybe some of the backline with the epicenter going out. Gabby with his BKB, he may not last for long. In fact, he will go down away from his allies as he tries to sandwich Gambit, but Gambit pushed right back into him. A 1-for-1 trade-off, very favorable for Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit will be quite pleased about that. Their Alch stymied trying to run at them.
I mean, they pushed this long enough to be able to get the BKB on the Gyrocopter. Now there's a lot more credible threat there.
GPK gonna run down the river. Armel doesn't have an easy way to get to him. No Blink Dagger build or anything like that. We talked about it. They're not going for initiation. They're just trying to get this Alchemist big enough where he can just stand in front. And you actually want to avoid this timer where he has to get ags for everybody. That's where he starts to lose a little bit of his luster because he's not making himself any stronger.
Right. And again, they sacrificed a lot of their other net worth to buff up this Alchemist. He starts handing out those Aghanim Scepters. They're not going to be nearly as powerful. Biggest one would be the Leshrac. Gabby has done a good job keeping himself slightly ahead of the Bloodseeker in net worth.
This game could have conceivably been over if Armel was able to get that Aegis onto himself.
Oh, yeah.
But very nice steal by Gambit. The timing on that Sand King stun couldn't have been more perfect as he even got the last hit. And although it says 19k gold lead, Armel can't get much bigger.
This is getting to the point where this game is probably just either going to end to the TNC's favor in the next 5 minutes. Nice burst strike in. It's going to be able to catch the Chen and all of his creeps.
Nice, and this is going to slow down the push even more. Gambit kind of doing it.
Yeah. TNC's either going to close this game out, or we're going to slowly but surely, Gambit's just going to grind their way back into it.
And
pickoff after pickoff.
Big item for that too. Techi's got his Aghanim Scepter.
Yep.
They're slowly starting to put the pieces together. And if they could defend the next Roshan, that could be a turning point.
Yep. I like this mining spot that is in his triangle area in the trees. That one's a nice one as well.
I mean, Vampire's really creative.
Yeah. You gotta lure TNC into an area. It's a little bit too obvious to just play inside of your base and remote mine that up. Then you can play around relatively easily.
He spreads pretty hard.
Yeah. Speaking of which, they still do not have a pipe, by the way, because they had to go for the Blink Dagger for Shochlo. They needed a form of initiation to try and force fights more. So he's only just now thinking about going back for the pipe, which they desperately need considering the entirety of magic damage from the Ogre, Lina, and Leshrac, plus Radiance.
And I like what Vampire's doing. He's laying down remote mines pretty much everywhere in the lanes so that TNC can't really push. He's just trying to extend.
Oh, that was a close one from Sims.
Even though the net worth lead grows, it's all behind this Alchemist right now.
Yeah.
We talked about it. He can't get that much bigger, so he's going to lay down the...
Gabby knows. Split Earth to be able to cut down the trees to run into Vampire. Vampire, well, he'll try and maybe run to his remote mines or just go for a blast off suicide. He doesn't even do that. Can't hide away enough from Gabby.
And now with that death, they might go for
vision on the high ground, but
that's a pretty big pickoff, and Armel takes a lot of damage without all those creeps next to him. They are coming in now, though. He's getting a little bit ahead of himself, but the creep wave is just going to get killed mid, I think. Yeah. Vampire, very smart.
Yep. Now, if only he had a way to be able to stop the top wave as well, but you're probably at a point that if you're TNC, you have to wait for Roshan. It's been a while anyway. Back to the spawn right now.
Pretty decent-ish, decently late spawn. Helps out Gambit a little bit as I walk in, see another mine. Armel's gonna start hitting this.
All right, can Truslow do it again? Can this Sand King steal another Aegis, and this time cheat?
I bet he walks to the exact same space.
Yep.
And then he waits for the Bloodright to come in for the vision.
Yep.
And they're gonna do it again.
Lead off on Rupture on a KP instead. Follow up Burrow Strike. Immediately Yule Sceptered up though, and now the Sand King's gonna be in trouble. He does manage to get a Force Staff off the Hood of Defiance. Can still protect him a little bit. The Chain Brawl's bouncing back and forth, but at the same time, Armel does stun himself. His damage is completely out of this fight. That means GPK can focus on some of the back line. He tries to run him over. Shochlo's still trying to get away though, and FNG, he's gonna be quickly eaten up by Armel, who's now going to be able to get the stun onto the Gyrocopter as well. They don't have any of these disengage tools. The Lich and the Sand King being dead. Nobody can stun Armel, but then again, nobody can catch Gambit.
Look at Vampire. hiding in the wings. He's got some mines in there. I think he wants to try to get the last hit. Maybe if he could get the blast off perfectly timed.
Well, Lena just ran into the pit with the gems, so I don't... Maybe it's just underneath Roshan, so they still don't see it.
Empire's starting to tick out pretty low.
All right, well, Vampire's now been seen, so he's going to be hit by a multicast and will probably die here. Tries to go for the blast off. And it doesn't do a whole lot.
That was almost a really cool play.
Yeah.
But now you've given up Aegis and Cheese. No way to defend this out either.
All right, he's waiting for the Leshrac because he feels like he can't die, so what's the point in picking up an Aegis?
He's not wrong. He's going to make absolute sure.
Gambit will get here in time to grab that extra life and the cheese.
What a selfless teammate. So we're going to see that again. They did a really good job of keeping Armel out of this fight, mainly because Armel stunned himself.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And then he got rocketed. This fight could have looked a lot worse for Gambit, especially if he was able to Abyssal Blade up Dream.
It would have been nice if GBK just run straight past Armel. You really just can't do any damage to him. You got to focus on hitting those backline heroes and kiting the Alk. But as it is, it's not just the Alk that you have to fear. As we saw, he wasn't really a big factor in that fight. That was mostly Gambit being a hero that just can't really be challenged with his Heart, Eul Scepter, BKB, Kaya.
They're going to go for the high ground again. This should be the death push. TNC gonna fortify their wave. There is a minefield sign, but they're just gonna go to the left of it slightly.
Even opening up some of the trees that they can play around. Okay, Rupture onto KP once again.
Not sure if they care about it. They're gonna clear out the tree waves so that there's no Sand King epicenter, but he's actually all the way to the right. But it doesn't matter if you just lose your base like this.
Frost is going to be a lot of damage. Maybe they can actually overwhelm Armel. Dream's trying to run him down still, but the regen over time is allowing Armel to be able to survive as TNC back him up with that BKB usage.
And they're just going to let him heal to full and go for it again, I'd imagine. In fact, he's going to TP out. Chen should bring him back.
Needs some regen, but they want to be able to finish off this melee barracks. A little bit harder to go for this one since that minefield sign.
Yeah, just walk around to the left again.
See if they can get some sort of sinister gaze or force stab plays that could possibly get them into the mines. That's what they really need here is Lotus Orb protecting Gabby. Oh, there's the sinister gaze trying to pull him back in as best as possible with the first strike out. Not quite over the remote mine zone. Armel will be able to run to the left and Gabby line, but Gabby runs forward with this BKB. Doesn't actually finish off any of these heroes. Oh, he's gonna run through the minefield sign though, but he does have that Aegis. So they just blew all the remote mines and now TNC can back in. GPK epicenter going out and going. Does manage to hit the Lina with his Burrow Strike, but doesn't really get the most amount of damage. His allies couldn't follow that up. They weren't ready to go. They were still low and regenning up. Vampire tries to position himself again to be able to get some remote mines out. They take away the Aeon Disc of the Lina, but now Dream has been Abyssal Blade up. Fortunately, Armel got stopped by the Laguna Blade out. Another round of remote mines going to do some damage, but still not enough. They do have the BKB from Armel back up for him to be able to challenge the Jarcopter, but he's got his Satanic. He activates it. He's going to be able to get a life steal out of that one, and the Chain Frost bouncing out to finish off. Please hit Gabby. He does manage to bounce back to him, but the rest of TNC will be able to split themselves up while Armel single-handedly deals with GPK. The rest of TNC looking to be able to retreat, but they can't leave the Alchemist by himself. Uh-oh, Dream. Does he just overextend himself? Does manage to get a bash in. Armel finishes him off. Double kill for him. TNC in style take a second lane of barracks.
The fun part about that is that TNC didn't have to do any of that. They took the racks and they still fought under the minefield sign. They got themselves really low, which allowed Dream to just run around as freely as he wanted. And they still didn't really care that much. They're like, well, why not?
Now they've got level 25 talent for the Alk, so he's going to be swinging like a madman. How long until our minefield sign? Oh, it's another 3 minutes, so you won't even have that threat for the next high ground defense for Gambit. Nothing is going to change for Gambit net worth or item-wise.
And you saw so many green dots on the ground. They're just getting cleared up. TNC is just face-checking all of them now.
4-time multicast Midas will help KP get a Scythe device. He can buy it out if he wants to.
Radiant's middle tower full.
No need, though.
And FNG a little bit out of position right now. The creeps are actually hitting. Oh,
he's away.
It'll get bigger and bigger.
TNC.
Hey!
Let's make a pit stop here. Let's go ahead and pick up some bounty runes.
One set of racks left. Armel gonna grab it. Should get some ags for his team now too.
Yeah, good. He's got 8,000 gold. You can give an Aghanim Scepter to Zilat. Leshrac, who's already so big.
Yeah, they got one on Lina already, which I agree with. That's what almost killed Dream there. And it'll really help against the Satanic Gyro, because he doesn't really want to pop that Satanic until he's about around the time where Tim should be able to kill him.
Yeah. It is a really good counter. Use your lifesteal too early and TNC's just going to ignore you for that period. Use it too late and Tim's may just cut through you with that 850 pure damage.
Octarine Core now completed. It looks like they're just going to wait things out a little bit though before they go for it again. Could even wait for the next Roshan, but...
2.5 minutes for that, I guess. I mean, they're running out on slots. Not just for the Alchemist, but Gabby doesn't really have a whole lot of room to improve either. Can get his Yasha and Kaya.
Yeah, they're getting real close to hitting the peak of their timing.
Oh, hey.
And they're picking
Aghanim
the
Scepter
center
for KP instead.
Oh, really? Okay. The double stuns?
Yeah, the double stuns.
And the Leshrac one is pretty underrated.
Yeah, when you have this many items, I think it is.
You survive forever, you'll run out those BKBs eventually, and then you'll just lay in Lightning Storm damage non-stop.
I think so too. Alright, yeah. And it's only 1 minute, so...
Yeah, it's fine. He'll get it eventually. His time will come. As they are laying out mines everywhere in this mid lane. Their last set of racks, Gambit, struggling to hold on here.
Swiftly out of balance.
Talking about the Trinity mines. Is that what Toby called it? The trio that you lay on a high ground? Well, this is just your last-ditch effort mines. You just throw a remote mine anywhere you can. It's inside the base. They gotta get a Sinister Gaze Force Staff combo. That's what they need. Force Staff somebody into a ton of remote mines.
They had a pretty nice gaze, but what ended up happening is Gabby had the Aegis.
Yeah.
So a lot of that went out the window. As the net worth has just steadily gone down. Win probability 97%.
Gambit. Don't let TNC get into that high ground.
And they forward. They want to go for this before the Aegis.
Yeah.
And look at this team, how aggressive they are.
Minefield sign. Actually a little bit off the mark there. It isn't actually protecting the mine. Oh, he did the force staff, but that is Aeon disc. That means Tim's just easily resets, and now there is nothing to stop TNC. And look at Armel go.
Once that
Multicast after multicast onto the techies. Missile after missile. They're going to try and chase in onto KP. Blow him up real quickly. He does have the cheese, but if they chase him, no, he got off the cheese just in time before the missile landed. Actually, 1 second. Now they're going to turn around G. He's going to get bursted out by the Laguna Blade, but GPK doing so much damage. The Black Cannon shots will manage to finish off the mass buying back, though. And the missile, it's going to be able to chase down Armel. Can he actually get this kill by himself? GPK with this Divine Rapier came in big time, but Armel with a BKB. He's going to try to hide into the trees. He's going to juke off the unstable concoction. Now he comes back in. Does he have any more disables? He just doesn't have the mana. Oh, Armel, he's going to man fight him. But GPK, he does have a Satanic. This is not a good play for him. Armel just needs to keep kiting him around. But where is the rest of Gambit? Where's the rest of TNC? The Lina tried to catch up, but Gambit are not going to be there in time to stop Armel from retreating. It would have been a massive kill.
He did not see that coming.
No.
He did not know about that Divine Rapier gyrocopter. He laid into them.
All that vision, all that flat cannon damage.
And now Tim's has been caught out. Does he have a cancel for
flash hit? What?
And that was the buyback on the Lina.
Incredibly lucky pickup of the Bash first hit. And now the Lina's dead for 100 seconds. Gabby is still dead for 52. And they were just praying, please let it be an early Roshan, but it's not. Another 2 minutes.
Drop the boots, all of a sudden you've got an opportunity for yourself. Oh, this game's getting a little bit scary now. GPK is so strong. Look at how quickly he takes down the tower. These mega creeps don't matter because they can throne so quickly if he keeps that rapier. So really all it takes is another fight like that, where TNC get a little bit too over-eager with their buybacks.
And after considering how far down they were in net worth, right, and the killing sprees and such that they got out of it, now being able to get 4 bounty runes, there is a wealth of items that we're going to see flooding in for Gambit.
Yeah.
The MKB is almost done for GPK.
The 31k lead that they have is very misleading.
Yeah.
Because the Alk has been topped out for some time, and you saw him try to one-on-one against the gyrocopter, and he got destroyed.
Armel, though, he's going to get an MKB for himself. That was part of the problem whenever he would man fight GPK.
And this next Roche is going to be so big for both sides.
Yeah. He actually pawns off his Radiance, saying there's no need to carry that item anymore.
Illusion.
Game? Well, we're just going to reset until Roshan spawns. That'll be in our next big engagement. Unless one of these teams wants to try and sneak a smoke play, but Gambit, they've just got to let Dream push out this bottom lane and try and give a bit more map control. It is unfortunate, but it's their side lanes where they first lost their barracks, and that means those lanes are always tough to deal with. Be a lot easier if it was just the mid lane. They could camp out at mid and be near that Roshan pit, but as it is
setting up around this area, both teams recognize how important this is. This could just be the game for either side.
There it is, Roshan has spawned. And it is going to be a refresher shard, not an Aghanims. Gabby, using his boots of travel. This is going to be the advantage that TNC had, not just with the barracks being down, but also Gabby and all his mobility with the boots of travel, being able to push into the side lanes, force somebody from Gambit back, and then trying to assault the Roshan, but a long-range side device. Doesn't manage to get the multicast, though, so GPK is uninhibited right now. Will deny his own ward, preventing the gold going to TNC.
Shashlo is just waiting on the high ground, seeing what sort of initiation opens up for him as Vampire walks into the Roshan pit, gets caught by the stun, or stepped out. Rupture is on Gabby.
Two minutes gets a vision, the side device, though. They're going to try and chain stun off this gyrocopter. Lotus Orb is laid out onto him, so, and the unstable concoction actually stunning out Armel. Not great for them. They've already lost KP. Now they managed to get the bash. Armel! Trouble, half health. Blast off going to come in, but he does manage to get his BKB off as well as the mech. That's going to be okay. He also has the hand of God from Chen, so they shouldn't overspend too much, thinking they're going to get a kill before that burst comes in. The unstable concoction landing on a GPK. They need to be able to finish off. Oh, the Laguna Blade's not quite enough to get shots off, but maybe Gyrocopter. He does have his so low. He has a Divine Rapier. They chain stun him down, and he falls. Divine Rapier on the deck.
And it's going to go the way of Armel.
Armel's going to take it, and he's going to go for the Roshan.
They do have buyback on their Gyrocopter, but it looks like they're just going to try to hold the high ground, and now look at how much damage he does. Vampire, he's in the area, and he's waiting for an opportunity. Tim's knows about this. He's feeling him out.
DNC saying, fool me once. Take that Aegis away. Take that kill. We'll never let you get around.
Oh, and Tim's actually found him with the stun on the high ground.
Vampire was caught by the long-range LSA from Tim's.
Instant buyback.
To a buyback. Our Gyrocopter, I think, wants to hold on to his so he can buy another Divine Rapier, but I don't think TNC is going to give him the room to breathe.
Waiting to see what happens.
Maybe they give up Megas?
I think 50 seconds is a long time against this lineup.
Especially with the Diabolic Edict, level 25 talent for the Leshrac. Not
only two buybacks that really matter. The Alchemist and the Gyrocopter are up. But so much of that Gyro's damage was tied up in that Rapier. It was the only reason any of those fights looked remotely close.
How many remote mines are there here underneath this sign? Well, it may not matter. Double force stats. They're trying to get Armel into a position underneath those mines. KP will gladly take it impossible because he does have that Aegis. The Abyssal Blade goes onto Armel, allowing Dream to be able to retreat. 15 seconds till the Gyrocopter's back up. They just have to let Megas happen at this point. A refresher actually being used by Gabby to be able to catch Vampire with the Yule Scepter, so he has a dieback. Now it's going to be a 4 versus 5 for the fate of the throne of Gambit.
And this is going to go down really fast. Questioning his decision now to wait for this, but this is an all-in.
Rapier is on its way, activates the flat cannon shot with the Burrow Strike, starting things off. They do have that extra bit of damage coming out from GPK. They're going to be able to take down the Gyrocopter. Not so low! Down! The second Divine Rapier on from TNC, and Gambit are gonna take a third.
And more. They need to march down mid right now.
2 Divine Rapiers. What a hold from Gambit saying, no, we don't buy back here. We wait out the Gyrocopter. We give them Megas. We get that Divine Rapier into his hands. That's the only way we can possibly win a fight.
That was such a risky fight for them, but they decided to go for it anyways. They barely hold on to their base. And now GPK, he's going to start this assault.
The highest risk may have just netted the greatest of rewards. A double Divine Rapier from GPK marching down the mid lane. It's going to be tough, though. TNC have plenty of buybacks.
There's none on the Ogre, though.
Yes.
So they're going to get a 4-on-5 fight, which may be their only way to really take this. And on top of that, if the Alk goes in, he doesn't have ult. It doesn't really matter when he comes back in the second time around.
That's true.
He will take the base very quickly. Butterfly picked up by the Alchemist, still has that buyout. Tims is going to lay down some vision, but look at how quickly GPK takes this.
He's chunking it down, and he's going to, you know what, he's going to go for the tier 4s. He's saying, you have to buy back. You have to do it now. I'm going to force it out of you. 1 tier 4 already down, but GPK starts
Gotta be careful. Back yourself out. You have to be patient here.
He needs to allow Shotslow to be able to find an opening for him to follow up.
This is a true 4-on-5. Gambit does not care about mega creeps at all. It's really just for the throne. The creeps are in a decent position for them, but it looks like they're content with just taking racks. Gonna reset the game for themselves, all the TPs back. They force the buybacks, and now this game is almost entirely on even ground.
Yeah, because now we're gonna have buybacks flooding in for Gambit. Gyrocopter has been able to farm his backup, and TNC, you know they're gonna want to play really careful. They're like, we've got Megas. We've got no buybacks on some of our heroes. Let's just chill out.
Yeah, and his decision not to use the buyback, but I don't even think it matters at this point. He's got 2 rapiers on him. If he dies without it.
That's true, that's true. It would have to be some like crazy freak scenario where he TPs back in to pick him up, and that's just unlikely.
We'll see what happens though. TNC, they push so hard for that. They try to bait out the buyout of the Gyrocopter.
So what are you gonna do? Pick up Daedalus and drop phase boots once you start a fight?
I guess. This game for me felt like it was sleepy almost. We were just going into the Gyrocopter against Alk. Alk just gets really big way too fast. Then the game slowly starts to peter out and Alk wins. And now all of a sudden Gambit, I mean, that has gone sharply up.
The win probability multiple times was closing in on 100%, but now has jumped back up to a 20-80 lead for TNC.
I think it might even be closer than that because of the buyout situation.
Yeah.
Gyro does completely buy out. I think this is the right choice. Without the double rapier,
yeah,
it's sort of pointless anyways.
He wasn't sure what that last item to change out for the phase boots was, and it was going to be Daedalus. And
he wants a way to fight against the Alk when he's BKB'd.
Yeah. That'll help slow down the Alchemist, but also make him a lot tankier. That is
one fight away from either side winning right now.
Yep. And if you're TNC, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to take that fight, right?
And TNC want this game to slow down back to what it was. They don't like this pressure on them.
Let's go back to where we were choking out your map.
And Gambit's in a rough position because TNC will go through buyback or backdoor really quickly.
Yeah. With
the Lesh 25 and the Alchemist. So Gambit pushing out their lanes isn't entirely making things safe.
Yeah.
They've got to make sure TNC are pushed back into their base before they make any sort of plays.
That's a good.
They don't want to get into one of these weird wonky base race situations.
That's why Vampire's job. He's just trying to get as many mines down all over his base.
That's why he's doing this, not just like from a defensive point of view, but if you do get into these base races, you want TNC to have to worry about this.
Yeah. Somebody give Vampire a little bit of experience, though. He's just shy of the 150 GPM talent. That could be where this game goes. Gambit may just have to stretch it out for the long haul. Vlad's for FNG.
Look at how poor March is. Just the Greaves and a wand.
It's not been a fun life for him. Meanwhile, he's holding the gems that Tims He doesn't want to carry anymore because he's trying to finish up a refresher.
Yeah, so much of that gold lead has now been cut off. 22k. Gambit, it looks like they're going down mid again. Just gonna push this in very aggressively. And it looks like they're actually squatting up. They want to go before the buybacks from TNC come back up.
They got to force it somewhere in this next 2 or 3 minutes.
I really like this timing. I feel like you're playing to win here by doing this.
Take away that wolf for him.
And the Chen doesn't exist as a hero right now, especially against the flag. All your creeps are dying really fast. So Gambit are in a pretty good position here. They're going to try to bait GPK out, force a bad fight from TNC, and look at how quickly that tower goes down.
Jesus, they're gonna have to do something about this inside device. Do they have the force staff to protect him? Of course they do.
They're gonna reset things.
Reset it again. Slow him down. FHG just making sure he does win his hand. The first strike going up. Oh my God, Bill! He just wiped that gyrocopter, who does have a buyback. Dream's gonna try and go and kill somebody here, but he just can't man fight anybody. Gabby is actually out life-stealing any of Dream's damage. Divine Rapiers. Tim's is gonna take one of them. And the buybacks, well, forced half away. Our Sand King
Haste.
might just be able to make it out of here.
And he's got the buyout, but
yeah,
how much does it really mean for him?
You're missing your 2 damage items. What happened there? He just blew up.
I don't think they expected that much damage to come on.
Yeah, I mean, he still had the remnants of Frost Shield up on him, too.
Yeah, and Vampire wasn't there for the additional force staff either.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. I mean, I think they correctly thought it's kind of a 4-on-4. March doesn't really have any items. His creeps die in 2 seconds.
They just kind of needed to reset until the force staff was back up.
Yes. That was what kept things alive. The net worth, it was 22k a second ago. Now it's 51. It's more than doubled once he lost the 2 rapiers.
And TNC, even though they have this, and even though we know Gambit is just going to be utterly incapable of fighting without the Divine Rapiers, they still say, we might as well just wait 2 more minutes.
The fun part about it is the Gyro's going to have, they're going to be generous and say, like, you don't have to buy out. Because now when you revive, you have a Scotty, a Butterfly, a Satanic, and a BKB. No boots. No damage items anymore. You don't threaten.
This isn't like last time where he was able to hold his buyback and then buy a Divine Rapier. This time around.
I mean, that's really his only place, to continue to just go for rapiers.
Yeah.
I don't know if the second one...
I'm not sure if he's going to get to this 3rd rapier, though. Because, not sure if there's just going to be enough creeps to hit at this point. So instead, he's going to go for Crystallis, any sort of small damage upgrade he can get. Roshan is going to be up in 30 seconds. As well as the buybacks for TNC. So that'll just be the perfect window. Put the nail in Gambit's coffin. Right around the hour marker, too. Gambit. Can they survive this assault? The first strike not going to be able to get it off in time, and that is the gem now lost, as well as likely a buyback for the Sand King. They're still going into Techie's mind, so who knows? They go a little too hog wild trying to chase some heroes.
Got a refresher on March now for the double ult.
Where'd he go?
Everywhere.
Gabby's gonna walk into the pit. It's got both the Ags and the refresher. Does March have an Ags? No. So now Alk doesn't have to buy him one. How nice.
Yeah. I wonder if you give... It probably doesn't count to the Aghanims granted bonus for Alchemist. So Armel almost kind of doesn't want to give him the Aghanim.
Does immortality work?
As yeah. He consumes it, but it wasn't gifted by the Alchemist, so he doesn't get that extra bonus.
That's fine.
And not a big deal.
So now comes what should be the final push of the game. If Gambit can somehow do this crazy miracle hold, I don't know how, but...
Where are the force staff plays?
I mean, they've done it like 4 times this game, but...
Activate the glyph to get the creeps to run through some more mines. They'll get vision. The remote mines as well. Armel, well, he's got Aegis, so he'll start chopping away at the site. Gonna make the initiation on the Lich, but they don't want to blow up these mines just yet. They're trying to get the force staff onto Gambit, but it was facing the wrong direction. GPK also getting force staff, but finally they blow the mines to be able to take away the Aegis of Armel. But that's what he wanted the entire time anyway. Now he's gonna slot in his BKB to fill that Aegis empty slot.
Yeah, he's just using that life to clear out as many mines as he possibly can. That was the right decision. But they've got to go through it again. This game now comes down to Vampire.
Pick the techies for him. Now, he's gonna have to come out win for it. GPK, oh, they missed the split Earth stun. Now the defensive force staffs come in from Gambit immediately. Sight device being used on a Dream. They're thinking about pushing forward. Armel just a little bit scared of all these proximity mines. Stun out, two-man stun coming out from Shotzo is gonna be able to lock down the two cores. Armel getting stunned up, but a heal coming down, and now he's gonna start marching forward, go straight for GPK. He's already dead. Now the sun's up, being bashing down this Bloodseeker, who just cannot do enough damage against this tanky Alchemist FNG, as well as Shotzo buying back a three-man Bro Strike this time around, but again, they're just out of damage. TNC will be stalled up by a glyph activated, but Gambit, no, this is the end. They're gonna call it here, 61 minutes in, and lock down game number 2.
Such a valiant effort from Gambit, pushing TNC to the absolute brink.
Gambit, they may have been able to push it late with the techies pick and with the Divine Rapier, but at the end of the day,